Hey viewers and viewers, my name is General Red Strategist. Welcome back to Danganronpa 2 Goodbye Despair, episode 59. We're continuing on, of course, with the Danganronpa If light novel. Now, people leaving comments on the previous couple of videos have been saying, they do enjoy watching this, which I think is good, because I know at the end of the last episode I was kind of skipping things along a little bit, and it may have sounded like I was getting a bit bored with things. It's not that I'm getting bored with the thing overall, it's just sometimes, sometimes I think because Japanese kind of writing, I sometimes find they do tend to repeat things a bit, which I think sometimes is very different to kind of our way of writing things, stories here in the West, where, once you've actually stated a key piece of information, usually we tend not to repeat things. Maybe that's just a kind of cultural difference there, I'm not sure. But, I am enjoying this overall, and I am going to continue on with it, because the thing is, we're on the, we're into this area now, the computer room, the innermost area, the Monokuma control room, where Junko controls the old robot bear from. So, again, I don't know how long this novel is, but we'll keep going for the time being, and who knows, maybe I'm not far from the end, I don't know. I'll have to check, actually, on Google, because I'm sure the Danganronpa wiki just gives a fairly rough idea of how long this actually is. Okay, how much time had passed? The surveillance cameras at the gates were capturing footage of countless Monokumas falling at the hands of a child who fought like a raging demon. The Monokumas bolstered their numbers, and now 100 of them were trying to sink their claws into Mukuro. Most of them were running on autopilot, reacting to her movements based on prior information they had received in advance. But despite standing before hundreds of mechanical adversaries, Mukuro's face showed no fear. She hadn't sustained a single injury, giving her even the presence that was nearly divine to behold. Though Sakura Ogami was powerful enough to injure her arm, Mukuro in her current state could potentially fight Sakura to a draw now without relying on firearms. She took complete control of the battlefield, taking in her surroundings as if they were a part of herself. She dodged attacks from the rear as though she had eyes on the back of her head, and stabbed through Monokuma's weak points with her metal bar. No matter where the attacks came from, Mukuro deflected them all as if her skin were covered in eyes. Describing her as ultimate no longer did her justice. Mukuro had transcended the boundaries of humanity and become a pure killing machine. That should say become, not becoming, I don't think. But despite that, even though she understood the ludicrous power her sister possessed, Junko was not afraid. She felt not one iota of fear. After all Junko can feel is despair. She even started to admire her sister's attempt to fill her with despair, but that sentiment quickly filled Junko with an orgiastic ecstasy of despair. Junko knew. She knew that Mukuro was neither hope nor despair. She was just a phenomenon. A disappointing girl who no longer understood herself, who only knew how to be violent because it was all she could believe in anymore. Mukuro had become an avatar of destruction beyond that of any military force. She couldn't even be considered a soldier anymore. She was a natural disaster like a typhoon or a tornado. Or perhaps, like gravity, she was now a fundamental force of the universe that only existed to bring despair to Junko. The mastermind enjoyed watching her sister go all out. If Mukuro destroyed everything and ruined her life, Junko would still be comforted by the despair. She could just go right ahead and overpower her. Junko considered this for a few seconds until a familiar, hopeless habit reared its head. Her habit of getting so bored that it made her sick. The girl who had been grinning as she watched the screen now bore a look of calm... I always forget how to say this word. Stoicism? I don't know, that. And she reached for the microphone connected to Monokuma's speakers. Mukuro was no longer human anymore, but Junko knew how to bring her back. It was a simple feeling, really, and with that hopeless feeling for Mukuro in mind, the mastermind said just one word. Mukuro. Okay. In front of the main entrance. Mukuro. That voice. It was calling her name. Instead of using Monokuma's voice filter, Junko's natural voice was coming out of a Monokuma unit. That's all it took. With one word, Mukuro Ikusaba stopped being a force of nature and became a person again. Monokuma would not miss this opportunity. As if moving to the beat of Mukuro's shaking heart, a torrent of claws leapt to attack her. But Mukuro trusted her instincts and twisted her entire body to fend off the attacks, leaving her with only a few scrapes here and there. But the despair wasn't over yet. The ultimate despair didn't waste any time making her next move. Again, right now Junko has multiple voices, so maybe I should just pick one of them. My favourite avatar of Junko is the one when she's got the crown on. Mukuro, watch out! Huh? As soon as Mukuro heard that voice, her mind went completely blank. There was no mistaking it. Oh. What? No, that was Makoto. There was no mistaking it. That was Makoto's scream. The scream that saved her from the spears of Gungnir and changed her destiny. No, that's wrong. It took her a tenth of a second to realise... No. That sound... okay, that voice was just a sound clip that Junko had replayed. But it was more than enough time to drag Mukuro, who had regained her humanity, into despair. Right when she recovered from a moment of shock, Monokuma appeared behind her and roundhouse kicked her in the temple. She twisted her head to roll with the blow, but at that moment a different Monokuma attacked her from the opposite side with a headbutt. And as soon as Mukuro dodged that attack, 3 Monokumas launched simultaneous drop kicks and knocked her to the ground. Ugh. The fact that they weren't using their claws meant they weren't trying to kill Mukuro right away. Before she could stand up again, dozens of Monokumas waiting for her on the floor climbed on top of Mukuro and pinned her limbs. One of the Monokumas waddled over to Mukuro as she lay face down on the floor and laughed. Pooh! A pretty girl getting pinned by all these me's? I wonder if I should feel more excited about this. Don't make that face! If I wanted to kill you, I'd just pump you full of bullets right now. I don't think the audience watching this on TV would like that ending very much. I need to make sure I do it the right way this time. What are you planning to do to me? Mukuro asked in her emotionless voice. Monokuma guffawed and answered, Nothing. I'm just going to stick to the original plan and make you play the killing game at this school. I'll erase everyone's memories again, and I'll just make them redo the introduction and the entrance ceremony again. In typical Monokuma fashion, he leaned his face toward Mukuro. But it'd be boring if we had to redo everything. Maybe this time I'll have you participate as Mukuro Ikusaba? Question mark. I'll take away even more of your memories, like I did to that irritating detective girl. You'll just be a poor little girl with no memory at all. As Monokuma talked and wiggled his body from side to side, the other Monokumas danced and twirled around. Amid this fantastical scene, Monokuma continued to describe his hopeless plan in a nonchalant manner. At first, you'll be the girl with amnesia, and everyone will feel so sorry for you. But as they unravel the mystery of this academy, they'll find out who you really are. It's exciting to think how they'll treat you when that happens. Knowing you, you'll probably kill someone purely on instinct. Maybe I should rethink my rules about self-defense. Pooh! Oh wait, this could be Mukuro. You can't. Her memories would be erased. There was nothing she could do about her classmates hating her, but losing even her childhood memories would mean her connection to Junko would be severed as well. Jesus Christ, Mukuro. Cut the ties already. Good lord. I'd say cut the umbilical cord, but that's actually what you use in reference to a mother who's connected to a child rather than sisters, but something similar to that. Even if Mukuro had no interest in the world, that was unbearable even for her. This is probably Monokuma. I've heard of New Game Plus before, but this is the first time I'll get to see a New Game Minus. Should I tie you up for fun? Or maybe we should make this game even more masochistic. Forget hard mode, very hard mode, and inferno mode. Want to just skip ahead to impossible mode? See if we're getting a bit raunchy here. Some fetishes going on there, who knows? Maybe I'll erase your memories after I drag you on a motorcycle, pummel you with 1,000 baseballs, burn you at the stake and crush you with an excavator. I like the references, executions in Trigger Happy Havoc. Spoiler alert. Mukuro knew what Monokuma was talking about. He was describing the tools they had prepared for the various executions they had planned for the students. After everyone reintroduces themselves, they'll walk around the school grounds and eventually find a flat-chested girl with amnesia, covered in bandages with Fenrir's tattoo on her right hand. I'd bet a certain fan base might get off on that. If this were a game, that would increase sales by 500%. Well, honest answers then, ladies and gents. Would you buy a game like that? Though Monokuma sounded like he was joking, everything he said was deadly serious. As evidence even, Mukuro heard a rumbling sound off in the distance. You know, I'm surprised with all the activity that's been going on in the hall. I'm amazed that none of the other students have heard this and come to take a look. Now then, your sweet ride is on its way! Based on the engine's noise, Mukuro surmised that it was the large motorcycle that was supposed to be used for one of the executions. I took the time to bring this all the way from the punishment room, so you better be grateful! The sound of the roaring engine grew louder and louder, like the approaching footsteps of death. Mukuro wondered how Monokuma would drive it with such tiny arms and legs, But then she remembered she was dealing with an ultimate despair. Junko would make the impossible possible, just to bring about despair. A despair that went hand in hand with Mukuro's fate. Did I fail? I couldn't fill Junko with despair? I couldn't save Makoto and the others? Questions raced through Mukuro's mind, but she wasn't able to answer them. There's no way she could have answered them so easily. After all, she was still alive. The sound of the motorcycle grew closer and closer, as if it was threatening to break Mukuro's spirit. Suddenly, Monokuma stopped moving. The other Monokumas continued doing their automatic movements. As this strange event unfolded, Mukuro noticed something. The motorcycle had suddenly gone quiet. After a few seconds, the engine exploded to life and began to approach even faster than before. Only a few seconds later, what appeared in front of the main entrance was an enormous motorcycle that ploughed through groups of Monokumas like a predator hunting its prey. The rider of this motorcycle was none other than Mondo Owada. Interesting. I thought maybe Junko would be on it, but then again, no. She would stay hidden in the data center, wouldn't she? Mukuro and Monokuma were both visibly shocked by this turn of events. Instead of addressing them, Mondo accelerated the motorcycle he stole from Monokuma directly toward Mukuro. Just before his front tyre touched Mukuro, he popped a reverse wheelie and turned the entire motorcycle around. Never thought Mondo would come to the rescue here, but then again, we don't know yet what's going to happen. The back wheel swept over Mukuro's back, knocking away all the Monokumas that were pinning her. This is probably Mondo speaking. What was his voice again? It was sort of slightly aggressive, deep, raspy sort of voice. "Hey, can you stand?" Mondo asked, and begrudgingly offered his hand to Mukuro. Confused, Mukuro took his hand and stood up. "What are you doing, Mondo? I was so close." One of the Monokumas Oh wait, no, this is the Monokuma speaking. "What are you doing, Mondo? I was so close," one of the Monokumas protested. Not in his normal voice, but as the hacker, Bashiki Madurai. No, the hacker's not real. It's not a real person, is it? It's Junko. Okay, well, I didn't really give Madurai a voice, so... "Oh yeah, you're Bashiki or whatever, right?" "That's right, why are you helping a terrorist?" "I ain't bragging about this or anything, but I have no clue if you or this girl is lying." The veins in his temple began to bulge, and his cheeks flushed with anger, as Mondo said, "But still, I ain't the type to just stand around while some idiot gangs up on a girl." "What are you saying? Get a hold of yourself." "You must be experiencing Stockholm Syndrome. You've deluded yourself into thinking you're friends with the criminal who's taken you hostage." Oh wait, that was... I should say it in Monokuma's voice, really, shouldn't I? Monokuma tried to explain to Mondo, but he ignored him, took Mukuro's hand and pulled her onto the back of the motorcycle. "Oh, shut the fuck up. I don't know nothing about Stockholms or syndromes." "Nice, but don't go acting like you can boss me around, bitch." Might have added a word of my own then. As Mondo shouted, he revved the motorcycle as if he was using it to punctuate his words. The ceiling-mounted turrets began moving, but the two disappeared before the turrets could take aim at the motorcycle. Wow, I'm amazed. Where did he get it from, though? Where's he got his motorcycle from? Did he find it somewhere? So if you just heard a sound of me knocking my microphone then, I was just taking a sip of my tea. Problem is the mug I'm using has got quite a wide brim. I probably should have picked a different one, but never mind. As Mondo shouted, he revved the motorcycle as if he... Oh no, wait, I've said that already. What am I doing? As they zoomed through the hallway, countless Monokumas chased after them, waving their claws wildly through the air. So someone eventually did realise what was going on in here. "Why?" asked Mukuro. "Huh!" shouted Mondo. His voice was even louder than the sound of the engine. "Don't get the wrong idea. I don't trust you at all." I should say he lowered, not his lowered. He lowered his voice slightly as if he were whispering to himself. But still, I don't know why, but I felt like I could trust what he said. "He?" inquired Mukuro. But there was no time for questions. Do you reckon the he is Makoto, possibly? The unit leading the Monokumas chasing after the motorcycle had almost caught up to them. And then, like the enormous maw of some fearsome creature, they brandished their claws even, in perfect unison. I imagine these hallways are a bit too tight for you to be speeding away on a motorcycle in, but okay. At that moment, the motorcycle zoomed by a certain girl. A girl whose fighting ability surpasses that of any normal human. Okay, Sakura, probably. The strongest girl on Earth. With a fighting spirit that defied comprehension, the ultimate martial artist kicked off the floor. A sound even louder than the motorcycle's engine filled the room. When Mukuro looked back, she saw Sakura landing on the floor, sending the pack of Monokumas flying several metres away. Now see, I'm enjoying this part of the novel a bit more than the previous section, because the previous section, like I say, was a bit repetitive and it went on, I don't know, maybe it's just me, it felt like the pacing of it kind of dragged a bit, but we got some action going on here. It's just, like I say, I've said it repeatedly and I'll say it again, it's just a shame there's no kind of, sprites here of characters, or no interesting CGs to actually show what's going on. I just feel like that would liven things up even more. Sakura? If she heard Mukuro mumble her name, Sakura didn't acknowledge it. Like a statue of a fearsome god king, she calmed her breathing as she stood before the pack of Monokumas ready for battle. Your pursuit methods seem unbecoming for one who claims to be the ultimate hacker. An overpowering aura seeped from her skin, and her skin shimmered as an intense heat began to fill the hallway. Unlike the power of Mukuro's sheer violence, this was the power of martial arts. Mukuro froze the air around her and time along with it, but Sakura was generating enough heat to boil space itself as she stood before the Monokumas. With that heat stinging her back, Mukuro looked ahead. Hifumi and Chihiro were cautiously peeking from behind the door leading to the dorms, while Aoi and Taka kept watch from inside the building. After passing them by, Mondo slowed down the motorcycle as he reached the front of the cafeteria and turned into a complete stop. The other students looked warily at Mukuro, but among these students Mukuro noticed two people who weren't regarding her with suspicion. One was Kyoko, who seemed to be studying the situation. The other one was a skinny boy who was leaning against Kyoko's shoulder. Makoto? Mukuro's lips began to tremble as she sat on the back of the motorcycle. Ignoring the pain coursing through his body, Makoto smiled at Mukuro and repeated what he said to her earlier. Okay, so he's okay, for the time being, it seems. Just having a sip of tea whilst I'm at it. What was Makoto's voice that I gave again? It was sort of strong Northern English, wasn't it? I'm glad you're safe, Mukuro. Unfortunately, Mukuro was unable to realise her hope of filling her little sister with despair. Instead, she had successfully planted the seeds of hope into her fellow students. Okay. Right. Thinking. We're into a distinct section now of the novel, so I might actually wrap up here. That was quite a little action-packed section, so I feel like this is a good place to, end this episode. So we'll continue on in episode 60, everybody. Things are getting interesting, so hope you'll join me for that. In the meantime, Facebook and Twitter links and Propagandist channel link down below as usual. And, if you enjoyed, don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. I'm not going to harp on about that really much. But one thing I will say, I'm interested in doing Q&As here on the channel, so if you want to leave some questions for me, and my good friend Phil, in fact, he wants to join in as well. If you're interested in that kind of thing, just leave some questions for me, and I'll copy them, make a note of them, and hopefully be able to put together a video out of them. That's the thing, I just want to, I gave out a call for questions a few days ago, but so far I've not really had any great responses, so in fact, I don't think I've actually had any responses. I'll have to check, just check again to see if there's been any updates. But yeah, I'm just going to push it a bit more in the videos, that's all. So yeah, if you're interested, leave questions below. You can ask us about anything you want. I'm not going to preclude any topics. If there is anything we're not comfortable with asking, then of course we'll just sort of, skim over. But for now, I'm not going to, preclude anything. So feel free to fire away with your questions if you're interested. Other than that, then, well, yeah, Jesus Christ, I'm fumbling my outro completely. Goodbye, everybody. What? Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I mean, narrative contradiction. It was such a danger. This way then? Oh, I see you fenced up the lift. To try and stop me from doing this, perhaps? No. You nearly had me. Bastard.
Imagine being carried halfway through the story.